My name is Orchid. I was born and raised in the UK, and for reasons that you're seeing now, I've never been to Iran. I'm a painter, I'm part of the LGBTQ community, and I speak out against the regime. Those reasons, each one of them is reason enough to be executed, tortured, imprisoned in Iran, let alone when you combine them all. My entire life, growing up in the UK, I feared Iran. I never was a part of any kind of Iranian community in the UK. I didn't have any kind of close relations to any of my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents. Many of them passed away, many of them were still in Iran, and many of them went all over the world, like we did. And I was always scared of Iran. I was scared that before I turned 18, if my mum died, I'd be sent there, and my fate would have been Nika's fate, Mahsa's fate, all of their fates, knowing who I am. And I was scared that if I let myself feel too much, I would break down, because that survivor's guilt is real. When you look at your reflection and you see the same face and they live a different life, that you can never even think of how they go through that. Last year when Mahsa was killed, I broke down. Like, I really broke down, and I felt like 30 years of trying to push this part of me away and trying to not live in that fear overwhelmed me. And every day I would wake up to a new name, a new hashtag, a new girl who was killed, a new girl who their mum and dad don't know where they are, and then it turns out 10 days after that they were found in horrendous ways. And I realized that as brave as I always thought myself to be open and to be myself, I wasn't brave. I completely denied a huge part of me, and I could have been using my voice to speak out for Iran the entire time, and I let fear and I let feeling like I would be too Western for the Iranian community, too brown for the UK community, all of that overpowered my strength, my bravery, and it was their strength and it was their bravery that actually made me wake up and ignite my own, and to know that actually, no matter whether it touches 5, 10, 50 of you, I have a voice and I should be able to use it. And the one good thing about being born in the West is that to a certain degree, I am safe enough, to a certain extent, to use it. Talking about safe enough, the next part here is about the assassination attempts all over the world. People think that the only risk to Iranians are those who are in Iran. Unfortunately, this is not the truth. If you speak out against the regime, especially if your platform gets wider and wider, you become more and more at risk. There's been assassination attempts in the UK. The MI6 have outwardly disclosed the statistics on that. You can go and read up. Assassination attempts in the US, kidnappings where people have literally, like Jamshid Sharmad, been kidnapped outside of Iranian soil, taken back to Iran, and to this day, they're in jail. They did not willingly step foot on Iranian soil. They were kidnapped, taken back to Iran, and to this day, as you and I speak, as the girls and men of Iran are standing in the streets, risking their lives, they are in jail. Okay, so talking about religion and Islam in Iran, I feel like it's really important to state here that this isn't a movement against the concept of Islam, it's a movement against the concept of oppression. Islam came to Iran via the Arab conquest of Iran by force. Iran is not Arab, Iran is not a Muslim country by nature. Muhammad did not come from Iran. Iran came via the Arab conquest. Prior to Islam being enforced, Iran was a Zoroastrian community. This is a very ancient religion that believes in good thoughts, good words, good deeds. They don't eat meat, they worship the fire, they worship the sun. Very, very almost pagan-y, peaceful people that were essentially either wiped out, some of them fled across the border and went into India and now make up some of the Parsis, and some of them went all over the world. They either had to convert to Islam or be killed off or leave. So I really wanted to make that clear that Iran in their ancient history was not Islamic, and just like anywhere else in this world, people have come into the place and tried to infiltrate a regime that, as you've seen by the statistics shared, most people do not want. The LGBTQ community in Iran are even more unsafe than any others. The president of Iran in 2007 stated on international TV that this does not exist. Gay people don't exist in Iran. We don't have that. Obviously, we have that. Many people all over the world can be gay. And they can't have, for example, any kind of pride, because that's basically just a chance for them to kill them off in bulk and just shoot into the crowd. Many of them have to either go through sex changes in order to then fit into the norm. Many of them have to either leave if they can, many of them can't, or hide their sexuality completely, which is no life, as we know. All of us who are here today, from the speakers, and I hope the rest of you, our objective is for Iran to be free regardless of your sexuality, your religion, what kind of ethnic minority you are within the different communities in Iran and the different locations. And that, I feel like, is what we want as humans. It's not specific to Iran. Wherever you go in this world, people just want to be able to express their authentic selves and be themselves freely, without fear, without torture, without arrest, without murder, without oppression. Okay, so the UK still refuses to put them on the terror list. Still, even now. They've said that one of their biggest threats to national security is the Islamic Republic. They still don't put them on the list. Australia, the same. Assassination attempts on their own Australian soil, and they still refuse to put them on the list. The US is still continuing trade. They are releasing, as Hamid said, billions to them, encouraging them to essentially take more hostages, because the more Americans you take, the more UK citizens you take, the more we're going to pay you to potentially release them if they're not already killed. And then obviously all of this cash then infuses the regime and goes back into the cycle of oppressing their people. But one of the good things and one of the hope that we have is that we have seen endlessly that the more pressure we put on them, the more international news covers this, which has been a big thing this year, where many news outlets have not. But the more that they do, the more celebrities get involved, the more people use their platform to speak out, and just average people like you and me sharing the content, sharing the hashtags, going to protests, going to events like this, it scares them. It scares them to see people in different countries standing up for Iran. And not only that, but it gives so much peace to the Iranians who then see us doing that. All it takes for me in my life is for one person in Iran to feel even remotely humbled, supported, cared for, or loved by my voice. And I think that all of us collectively can increase that even more. There are a bunch of petitions that you can sign to help. Sharing content is also a way that you can help, and staying informed on the situation and what's going on in Iran. My Instagram is up there. In the link in my bio, I've got the petitions that we really need as many signatures as we can get. Things like putting them on the UK terror list, things like stopping the nuclear trade, and things like the release of Jamshid Sharmand and many other political prisoners who have been kidnapped and forcefully taken to Iran and are in jail. So please, if you can, go to the link in my bio, sign anything that you can. And I also have spent the last year creating all kinds of content on Iran, from our ancient history to what's happening now and where we can go in the future in order to make a change. So you'll find all of that on my Instagram and on my YouTube as well if you want to check that out. And before I say goodbye, I want to encourage you guys to also be brave in aspects of your life and see how you can use your strengths, your platform, your love, your empathy, and your compassion to really make a change in this world. Thank you very much.